having me. So in lockdown, you probably all had time to reflect and think about your business. Maybe you were able to pivot your business and you're really busy. Maybe you're really quiet over that time. You had that time to reflect and work out what your ideal business looks like and what you want to be doing going forward. Maybe you were busier than ever. Regardless, today I wanted to talk a bit about creating your ideal business and what that looks like, some steps you could take to actually help you create that ideal business for you. But first I wanted to ask a question. Who here started their business so they can work 60 hours a week? Anybody? Yeah. Who here started their business because they wanted to, break up arguments with their employees? Anybody? You as well, Cara? So ideal business means different things to different people. It could mean that you want to work less hours in your business, spend more time with family and friends. It could mean that you want to consistently grow your business, go national, international. It could mean taking a holiday without it affecting your business at all. It could even be going back to doing the things that you love doing the most. So most business owners, as you know, all of you, wear lots of different hats in the business. So you're the CEO, the CIO, the CFO, all the hats. Some find it hard to delegate, some are too worried or scared to allow others to take over certain tasks, and some others are perfectionists and want everything done their way. Can you relate to any of this? Anyone? Yeah. It's always Cara. I'm honest. I've got a couple of things that you can do to kind of mitigate some of those negative behaviours that I'll talk about a little bit later. But firstly, going back to creating your ideal business. So the first thing that you can do is actually talk about or think about what your ideal role in your business is. So one way of doing that, I'll give you an example. One of our clients runs a marketing agency and he's very creative and he loves the creative design, he loves problem solving and all of that. His agency was quite successful and pretty much overnight he grew to 9 staff. So all of a sudden he's doing team meetings and he's doing, managing staff issues, managing leave. He was having to deal with, understanding his financials to do pricing properly because he had a team now and all of that sort of stuff that he wasn't enjoying so much, and he fell out of love of the business. So the first thing we did was we created his ideal role, and the way we did that is we got him to write a task list of all the tasks that he does every week, every month, etc. With that task list, so these are the steps of your ideal role, so you write your task list down. There were obviously still some things that he needed to do as part of running a business. You still need to do some things. So we aim for getting about an 80-20 split. So 80% of the time you're doing what you love doing, and 20% of the time you're doing sort of business-related stuff as being the business owner. So he created his task list. We then went through the task list and highlighted the tasks that he wanted to continue doing. So all the stuff that he loved doing, the design, the follow-up with clients, the customer service, the problem solving. And then next to everything else, we talked about what are we going to do with each of these tasks? Can we outsource it? Can we delegate it to one of our current staff members? Can we, create an automation? So have a system where we can create, make it more automated or make it easier to do. So we created a plan, task list, and we put together a timeline. That's really important against each of the tasks. So prioritize the tasks that are going to give you back the biggest return on investment. That could mean your time back, it could mean money back or more revenue, and it depends on what your ideal business looks like. So these are the steps. An example of a system to create that we created for one of our clients is a pricing spreadsheet. So he hated the numbers side of things. So some people love the numbers, some people hate them. So we created a spreadsheet that was really automated. It was just an Excel, very simple. We linked it back to his financials, so he knew what his costs were, his overhead costs, etc. And so all he had to do was plug in a few numbers. He plugged in the number of hours it took him. He plugged in, which of his staff are going to be working on it and what the product was, and it spat out the price for the client with his margins on there. So that was something really simple that saved him a lot of time and a lot of heartache because he just hated working with those numbers. So it's a simple way to kind of systemize the process to make it easier for you to take a lot less time for you to do. Another client of ours, she has 4 beauty salons and she was working till 2 a.m. every day. Her list of tasks came to 69. That's probably the longest task list that I saw in my history. So we got that down to 35 of ideal tasks. So the rest of them, we created a plan around actions, timelines, who was responsible for each, and who was going to be accountable to each of these different tasks. It takes a little while because, you know, when you're doing everything, trying to outsource and give it to someone else takes a little bit of time. So we had to put realistic timelines around things, and you have to build trust with the people that are going to be doing that for you. So having clear accountabilities, having clear KPIs for the people doing that for you, and holding them accountable. They're the three sort of key things to help you move forward with that. So she's now, or they're both now falling back in love with their business because they're doing the stuff that they love doing. They're not focusing on the stuff that they dislike. She's now able to work 4 days a week, and still the business is running very successfully. So once you have your ideal role sorted, I'll give you an example of this is like an example task list. So all the tasks here, then you work out what you're going to do with them, whether you're going to outsource, systemize, keep, or delegate, and then some sort of timeline there. So some might be a project, because if you're going to create a system or automations, you might need a project around doing that. And then others are just an easy handover to someone else. But again, clear KPIs, clear accountabilities around that. So when we talk about building a business, we've kind of created an analogy around building a house. So it's a loose analogy, so just work with me here a little bit. This is my house. Excuse my drawing. My lovely house.
It's a lovely house.
Yeah, it's my lovely house. So we talk about the base first. So you obviously need quite a solid base to start your business. And that's your product or service offering. So that's a whole lot of things. That could be your packages that you offer, your pricing that you offer, what are your competitors doing in that same space, etc. And then to put a roof over your head, you need sales and marketing to actually start building the business. You need to start bringing some revenue in. So, you know, do you have a consistent lead flow? Do you have an actual sales process that, you know, you can bring clients through? Do you have a way that you can record all of this? You know, a CRM or some way to, you know, record your leads and your conversions, etc. Then we start building the rooms in the house. So the rooms in the house are your systems and processes within your business. So, you know, automating things, making things easier, similar to that Excel spreadsheet example. And then you can start hiring people. Once you have those systems and processes in place, you can start hiring people in the different rooms or the different areas of your business. I know it's a loose analogy, but that's how we kind of. So what we do as a first point of call is we ask our business owners to actually mark themselves out of 10 in each of these categories. So out of 10, where do you think you're sitting in each of these categories? And then we talk about, well, what areas do you want to keep a hold of? Which of those areas do you love doing? Which do you hate? And then we start talking about, okay, so what support then do we need? What people do we need in our business to help support us in those other functions? Or what can we outsource to experts? So depending on the size of your business, ideally someone would be responsible for each one of these different areas. Some of these will be your responsibility, some will be your staff's responsibility, or some can be outsourced to a professional. So some work out so growing a team, outsourcing and delegating appropriately are all keys to creating your ideal business. So I know this can be hard for some business owners, but there are ways to do it to mitigate those concerns. One thing that I work with clients on is working out their hourly rates. So you say, for example, you want to be earning $70 an hour in your business. If you're earning $70 an hour and say you're doing administrative tasks, some of those admin tasks can be outsourced for $25 or $30 an hour. So it kind of makes it easier to think about it in that way. So I'm worth $70 an hour to the business. This is worth $25 or $30 an hour, or even less if we outsource it internationally. So let's do that, it makes it easier. It's funny because when you think about, you know, doing your BAS statement or something like that, you know, technically if you sat down and really spent the time, you probably could do a BAS statement. But it'll probably take you 4 times as long. It'll probably might not even be 100% accurate. So we easily outsource that to an accountant or a bookkeeper quite easily. So I guess why don't we do that with all our other tasks? That's another way to kind of think about it. So in conclusion, to help you create your ideal business, have a think about your ideal role in business. What are the things you want to keep doing? What are the things you don't want to keep doing? And think of how you're going to get support around all those other different tasks that you want to do. Prioritize and outsource the things you want to get the biggest ROI for you first. The things maybe you hate the most could be the first things you outsource. Look at the key areas of your business here and see where you want to, you know, get support, where you want to keep. But overall, have a plan and try to find someone to hold you accountable to that plan. Thank you.
Well done.
questions before you run away?
Oh, yes.
Anybody have any questions for Ranya? Or any comments?
What's the biggest kind of, I suppose, the hardest thing, you know, for you to sell that to somebody that doesn't want to change their mentality?
Yeah.
A business owner.
Yes, it is hard sometimes for business owners. I guess it's a softly approach. So we do like one little step at a time. So we'll outsource like one small thing and make sure that that's working fine, and then it's the next thing, and it's the next thing. So it depends on the person. You might need a softer approach. Other people are happy to outsource everything because they don't want to do it anymore. So it depends how painful it is. Yeah, absolutely. So definitely step by step. You don't outsource everything at once, and just make sure that's working properly before you move on to the next thing. Yeah. So
Cool. Jeff?
Is there one task in particular that owners don't like to give up? If you say this makes sense to get rid of, you shouldn't be doing this?
It's different for different people, I find. Some people love their numbers and want to be, you know, I've got one client that checks his P&L every day, you know, and he loves doing that. And then the other people just don't even look at their P&L for months and months on end. so it really depends on the person and what they enjoy doing. But generally people start their businesses because they love their product or service offering. They're not starting it because they want to do the accounting or they want to manage people necessarily. But, you know, as you grow, these things happen, and just working out what you love doing and what you don't love doing. And but there's no one clear answer, unfortunately. That's just depending on the person. Yeah. Yes?
Yeah, and mine's a comment. I think using the house is
How did you like it?
well, because it simplifies it all
Yes.
down for people to understand. You know, the house is one thing, but you need a good foundation, a roof on it.
Yes.
And the different rooms helps you identify who it is, what you need to focus on.
Yes. Yeah.
What you don't.
Yeah, no, I think that was a great analogy.
Yes. It's simple, but we like simple. Keep it simple. Yeah. Thanks.
Well done. Thank you, Ranya.
Thank you.